Mm-hmm. This the channel that Cody was telling me about like the lore behind like fictions and stuff? I used to be interested in those 40K lore channels, but then like the one that I was watching like slowly started turning into like Nazi. That's the one who I think turned into a Nazi in the end. Hey!
1 fucking minute to spare. Yes. Oh, I mean, the original idea was I wouldn't even make it until like 30 minutes from now, but then my aunt who was driving, she's like, no, trust me, I know ways we can get there sooner, and just pretty much broke every single speed wall all across Missouri and stuff.
So, are we going to record our ends then? Alright, we'll just do it next week.
And hello, and welcome to the So That Happened podcast, week 3. I'm surprised that we are all actually here. We weren't here last week. Tristan was dead, and he's been resurrected from the grave, and that's good. And Tiger Star was about to be dead, but he showed up literally the last minute, so that's really good.
I may or may not have broken a lot of speeding laws.
You know what? I think it's best that you don't say anything, just so you don't, maybe in case the FBI is watching this.
Yeah, there's like one speed cop who's like, in Missouri, rural Missouri, with like the radar gun, and he's like, man, I'm getting bored. It's time to like, turn on my favorite podcast stream. And he turns it on and he's just like, oh, that bastard.
He's like, damn, what's it called? The car, they had the Dixie flag on it.
Damn Duke boys.
Damn Duke boys. Except instead of like with the Confederate flag, it's you with your like Prussian helmet and Tiger Star Missouri Adventures.
Oh boy.
That's going to be the spin-off series.
Like instead of my
Missouri
horn
Adventures.
playing Dixie, whenever I honk the horn, it just plays the Prussian national anthem somehow.
Yeah, he starts up the car, dueling banjo starts playing,
Oh, it's more like it's dueling cellos. Dueling cellos.
Yeah.
It's like Beethoven.
Or maybe
Beethoven
like
starts
German
playing.
heavy metal. German heavy metal. That
Oh,
sounds
yeah, I
more
like
Oh boy,
that.
there we go.
That works. You make Bismarck proud. Very proud. Actually, you should see a thing. Not Great Courses Plus. I don't know why I said that. Extra credits. They're doing a thing about Otto von Bismarck now in his
I saw that.
Yeah, man. Turns out that he was like a drunken party animal.
I know, right? Yeah.
Does not
Back in his
surprise me.
day, he was like a womanizing, like just drunk, and he was just partied all the time. And the story that they had was that he pretty much had to grow up, and he was forced to grow up because his entire life he pretty much just never went to school. And I mean, like, when he didn't go to school, I mean, he literally didn't go to school. Jesus. When he went into law school, he never went to a single class until, like, the last few months. He crammed it all in, and he got his law degree.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then,
That sounds like me in a nutshell. Do it all in the last minute.
School was easier
it's
back then.
inspirational. It's like...
There was less things to know.
It's like how people say, like, Albert Einstein was terrible at math. Except now we can actually say Otto von Bismarck was terrible at school, and he ended up being one of the most important people in history.
Yes.
You too could reunite the German Empire if you sucked at school.
So does
Remember
that mean
that.
I can reunite the German Empire? I sucked at school.
You know, that explains why Nazis were so uneducated.
You know what, guys, though? German Empire existed for a short time. And you know what? For the time it existed, not a fan of what it got up to. Just saying.
You know what? Actually, the thing that they say in their video, you should definitely go check them out. I don't know. I'm kind of stealing.
Oh, yeah, about how Wilhelm II was an idiot. And, like,
Oh, yeah.
basically,
Well,
like,
von
Bismarck was like,
predicted-
you're totally going to fail.
Yeah, von Bismarck was so smart. He predicted in, like, 1890 that the whole Europe was a powder keg. And it was going to explode, and it was going to destroy everything that Germany knew. And he told that to Wilhelm the last time he ever saw him. And he said, in 20 years, everything you know will completely collapse. And then exactly 20 years and 4 months later, Wilhelm abdicated his throne, and Germany lost the war. Yeah. And he was only off by 4 months.
That's
Yep.
pretty good.
You know, like, given, like, all the things that Germany's been through in the last century and a bit, being run by, like, a center-right old lady is, who's, like, doing, like, 10 times the work of every other European leader. I'm good. Germany's good.
For a disclaimer, Alternate History Hub does not condone or condemn any of the actions of the European Union.
She's just like this one lady who happens to be, like, president of Germany and just is happening to keep the entire European Union going right now.
Yep. For the Fourth Reich, it sure is working well. So
See, you don't need to delay to launch a military campaign. You just gotta, buy out all the lesser countries.
well, I find it so funny how the very original idea that Germany had back in World War One
was an economic republic.
Yeah, of how they were going to rule Europe was basically just economically dominate everybody. Willingly.
Wasn't like Wilhelm II's plan basically like if Germany won World War I to basically set up like a European Union,
yeah,
a Victorian version of it?
Basically just the European Union, like same borders and everything. That was Germany and World War I's plan, and
It was still far, far, far more favorable to Germany than even the EU is now.
oh yeah. I mean,
Like
I'm not
it wasn't
saying
it was more
literally.
like it was more like kind of like the satellite states were to the Soviet Union, but to Germany instead.
I mean, also Germany ruled like all of Prussia, Poland, and the Baltic states.
Never forget.
And like half of Russia with that whole agreement if they did win World War One.
Yeah, they
So it's
would
a
be
little
the
bit
dominant land power at that point.
It's a little
without
bit
question.
different. A little tad different. Who knows?
So I hear we were doing a podcast at some point.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
I think we were just introducing ourselves.
Oh yeah, we went like 10 minutes without.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
cut it in
So-
post.
My name's Emperor Tiger Star. No,
I'm
No.
Tristan.
yeah, okay, so now we should probably officially hello everybody after seeing our EU rant and just sucking up to Otto von Bismarck. If you don't know, I'm Cody. I run Alternate History Hub. I am joined by,
I am Tyler. I am a YouTuber up and coming.
and by YouTuber up and coming, he means he has yet to make the channel, but he will in a month.
Well, the channel's made.
Soon
it's
to
still
be
not.
YouTuber.
Oh yeah, you're a future content creator.
Yes, future content creator.
You are a fetus of a channel.
I don't know how to take that.
I don't know why I said that.
I don't know how to
actually.
receive that.
I don't know. Let's scratch that. Who are you guys? What's your life story?
I'm Emperor Tiger Star, and my channel is all about history and animated maps.
Woo!
My name's Tristan, and I run Step Back History, stepbackhistory.com, where I talk about history and do videos to that effect.
You actually have a website, you pleb. This is 2017. We only have social media.
Why do you
Everyone's a
have
brand.
Our brand is Instagram and Twitter and Facebook because that's much more professional than a website. You should know.
Yo, the website, the URL literally just like redirects to the YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, technically, you could say that your YouTube channel homepage is your website.
Well, it's easier to just put stepbackhistory.com on a business card.
Yeah,
That's true.
actually, that's a good idea.
It
I'm
is.
stealing that idea. That's gonna be my thing. Remember at VidCon where everybody was just passing out their like
Yep.
cards? It was always people that were like lower than 1,000 subs though.
So that's what I should do?
Yeah, if you want to go, if you ever go to VidCon, let's go to VidCon next year, and you can just pass out your little cards.
Yay!
Lord of Lore.
I will draw them with stick
It was-
figures and crayon and note cards.
It was my first VidCon, and I handed out a whole bunch. And yeah, I think I've gotten like maybe 4 email conversations out of that whole thing. Maybe 1 collaborative video came out of it. So like,
Was it worth the trip to California?
oh hell yeah, the networking and stuff like that is great. Like that's why I'm here right now.
Oh man, you're right. Yeah. VidCon actually worked. I was gonna say VidCon did nothing, but then I realized, yeah, it brought this podcast
So
together.
isn't that how this whole thing started?
Well, I mean, we knew each other before then, but I don't really think about the whole thing with My phone did that. I don't really think about like VidCon spurring it, but VidCon did. Yeah, VidCon spurred us talking to each other again. So
Yeah, we kind of lost touch a couple years ago.
yeah, we did. I lose track of a lot of people. Sadly, I feel a recurring thing for 2017 for me. Ain't that depressing? Anyway, thanks everybody
just
for
life.
Thanks everybody for joining us. So Tiger Star, you weren't you didn't see this because you showed up a minute late. Actually, you know what? Why were you so late? What took you so long? What are you doing?
Well, I mean, I was visiting relatives on the other side of the state, so, I mean, I was literally hours away.
Oh, well, that's not. I was thinking it was going to be some like Prussian-related business, or I don't know.
No, well, hold on now. I didn't say where my relatives were from.
Oh, where are your relatives from?
Missouri.
The Prussia of America.
This podcast is over.
No, I like where this is going.
10 minutes in. Bye, everybody. No. Well, that's fascinating, and your Missouri relatives.
Yes. By the way, would you like to hear the updated results for the flag contest?
Are we doing flag contests this early? Is that what we're doing? That's
Might as
horrible.
well. Let's do like opening business.
Any recurring
So-
business?
So, firstly, I posted the voting link on Twitter, so I imagine Step Back History and Cody will retweet that as soon as possible.
Did it already.
So the first
much
round
work.
had 8 flags, and we narrowed it down to 4. So now it's just the same thing. You're ranking between the 4 flags, and the next 2 will move on to the final round. So we are now going to horribly describe the flags which made it past round 1.
Are we describing
yeah.
them again?
Yes.
Oh no, we did such a bad time
It's
last time.
time for Pictionary.
Okay, before we do that, can we apologize for the fiasco that was last week?
What are you talking about? Last week never happened.
Oh, you're right.
Cody.
Okay, well,
first
how about,
rule
you know-
of Fight Club, do not talk about Fight Club.
Okay, well, since this is Alternate History Hub, how about let's theorize if in an alternate timeline, we did have a horrible live stream last week. Let's theorize about what it could have been and deeply apologize for if it theoretically did happen. How about that?
I think it would be a grand adventure.
Yeah, so last week was the time that we realized that Tristan is very fundamentally crucial to the dynamic of this podcast.
Something I did not know.
Yes, Tristan is very much the straight man who keeps this entire podcast on the rails. Because if he is not here, we get weird.
That's a given.
I mean, me and you, not recorded, are already super weird.
Our conversations off mic between each other are not meant for anybody else's ears.
No, Tiger Star helps a little bit for the whole thing. Also, a lot of people listening in on the conversation also helps change what we're gonna say. But
We really have to
fair,
tone
though,
ourselves
I mean,
down when we get
We
on
do.
the public light.
This is
It's
like-
actually, I realize that now without them thinking about it.
I cuss so much out loud.
It's all I do all day at work.
Yeah, it's damn Ohio. Oh wait, I just cussed again. Oh well.
We need a bleep button.
We need to have like just a thing that you just
press the thing.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out that if I wasn't here, things get weird, and then someone pointed out that one of us is in fact a cat.
And this is true.
True,
This
but
is true.
cats are the most kind of calm animal
I mean,
around.
last week we pretty much had Cody the Hermit, Tiger Star, and Rusty Shackleford all in the same chat. This was great.
Rusty
Yeah.
Shackleford.
I am a hermit. That's sad. Yeah. This
That's
channel
like a
has
deep
aged
cut now.
me
That's like
greatly.
retro now.
It is actually, yeah. We came up with the conclusion that he was Rusty Shackleford. But anyway, getting back to you, yeah, you are the straight man who basically keeps us from absolutely imploding. Because last week's live stream,
It was
for people
bad.
that did not see it, thank you for not seeing it. Because
We apologize for any of you that did see it.
I thought I could squeeze in family time and the podcast, and I show up 5 minutes before we're actually supposed to air. He's in my
I got
driving.
to Cody's apartment before Cody got to his apartment.
Yeah, he's in
And I
the
live
drive.
a half hour away.
He's in the driveway. I open up the garage. We don't even say anything. I say, get in. We got to do this. And then we just run upstairs and we sit down. Tiger Star has been contacting me the whole time, thinking I'm like asleep or dead or something. And we start the podcast and go, and there's no mic.
Yep.
Yeah.
No audio, no anything. And we're like figuring it out for 15 minutes. And I was on the verge of just calling the whole thing off. And then we finally got done. So, but I was so sort of angry from the delay and also the technical issues. I was just like, my brain wasn't in it. This is
So let's talk about our finalists.
ooh.
Yes, let's finally get on with the show.
First, flag number 1 by the wonderful Zach Bossy comes this wonderful several colored number.
It is several colors.
It is several colors.
So we were theorizing about this last week. The top, I'm guessing, symbolize. I just realized it's 3 different colors. So it's gray, orange, and blue. So, actually, now that I see it, the gray stands for Step Back, the orange stands for me, and then the blue stands for Tiger Star. And then I'm guessing, and then like the center, it's all 3 of our logos. And then in the bottom, it's like a purple. But I don't know, what do you think that purple means?
I have no idea what the purple could mean.
I mean, it could be...
Step back, holding the entire flag together, obviously.
The glue
That
the glue that is known as Step Back.
That is symbolic. Keeping
And
us
if
from
this
gravity.
flag wins, we're definitely going to have to find the most ridiculous, awkward way to Photoshop in the 4th channel logo.
Oh yeah, we gotta have like Lord of Lore be not even like
Just a minuscule bubble like orbiting alternate history, like the moon.
Yeah, we should, like the Destiny, like a little Destiny type of
Oh,
thing.
like the little traveler above.
Yeah,
There'll be
little
2
traveler,
moons.
and that's your logo.
There'll be 2 moons. There'll be your lore, and then there'll be Cody's inhabited moon from his novel.
We could just have another flag contest. No big deal.
We could, you know what? We'll just constantly have flag contests, and we'll never have an actual flag. That's
like,
the fun of the podcast.
Change every other week.
Yeah, the fun of the podcast is just always wondering, what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be an actual contest this time? Who knows?
It's an autocracy.
This will be the actual flag contest, and then when we have the 4th channel, the next contest will be what's the best way to cram this onto the flag, and so we'll pick those flags.
That sounds good.
Just
Actually, you know,
how can we get this on the flag?
You know what we should probably do, just so it saves us a lot of time. Whatever flag is the winner should just be his logo. So it works in the end. The flag is representational of Lord of Lore.
Oh,
it works.
This is how we differentiate our flag contest from like the Hello Internet one, and that is we're just a channel that is constantly having the flag contest. We're just always doing something. It's the forever flag.
It's for the people that didn't get their flags for CGP Grey. They can just come here and just always have their hopes given up.
And we just think of like more and more ridiculous voting methods.
Yeah, like eventually it starts being like you gotta like whoever wins in a civilization game then gets their flag to be the winner. Or
wait, so we're gonna have a public Civs game?
Oh God.
We somehow incorporate fantasy football into this.
Yes.
You know what's sad? I've always wanted to do like a live stream gaming thing, but then I didn't want to do it because I didn't want people thinking I suck at Civs. And it would ruin.
Oh, dude, I will rock Civs all day long.
I'll play Civs. I just don't want to. Yeah.
Civs
anyway, just so we don't get,
Civ
we'll talk about this later. But anyway, Flag 2 is from Stevan Bakta. Is it Stevan or Stavon?
Stavon is what I'd say.
I don't get this one at all. I know there's the Ohio flag, but I don't know where I stopped there.
It's a 3-toothed Ohio flag with a Soviet sickle and a robotic arm with a circle and 7 stars.
I feel like he just really wanted to use that logo for something. I get what the 3 stars are. It's our channel. I don't know what the 4 stars might represent, like the 4 hosts, us.
Maybe.
Actually, looking at it, that might
3
actually
channels,
be
4 hosts.
Yeah, I don't know what the L
and the sickle mean.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
what that means.
that's a new one.
It might be because of your leftist leanings, Tristan. Oh my God!
No.
Bring out McCarthy. And then in the Ohio fashion, because I think that's the only thing people can use my thing for is Ohio. That's what Cody is. He's Ohioan, so it's using the flag.
Cody is
front
Ohio.
man for all of Ohio.
No.
You and John Kasich.
What?
You and John Kasich eating your way across America.
Yes.
Oh, Kasich.
Oh boy.
He tries his best. But yeah, I think it's because the alternate history hub logo looks so like awkward on a flag that it just they won't do it. But
It's hard to put on a flag.
I mean, maybe it's because it's the world and
Yeah,
we
it
went out
is.
Brazil.
It's
So.
true. Just make a Brazilian's flag. We can hear all over the place.
Who looked at the Brazilian flag? This is gonna be Brazil hate. Who looked at the Brazilian flag and think, you know what, that looks good?
I think it looks all right.
Green and yellow. It looked good when it was a monarchy.
Yeah, it fits
and then,
them.
Yeah, when it was a monarchy.
Yeah,
and
but
then
they're in the jungle. Green and yellow is jungly.
Green and
what-
yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow.
That's symbolic. It's in the jungle, so it works.
Sorry, Brazil has a fun flag. It makes you happy.
Carnival.
I've watched way too many videos of Brazil online, so whenever I see the Brazilian flag, I do not think happy.
that is true. I'll give
You know what
that.
though? I actually think my favorite thing is has anyone seen this? It's like my favorite YouTube video ever made, and it was during the Rio World Cup match, and after that time when Germany just destroyed the Brazilian team
was
7-1,
hilarious.
and it's just got this like fun fruity drink that just goes like Brazil, la, 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 and then just a giant stein of beer just crushes it.
Oh,
Yes.
never forget. I will never just
That was the greatest game ever.
Moment for those
Like,
lost, but
As a person who has no emotional connection to football/soccer whatsoever, that was just hilarious to watch.
oh, it was brutal. That was the most brutal thing I've seen.
It was lovely.
But anyway, yeah. So moving on. Flag 4 is from David Whittaker.
Whitaker.
And his flag is basically a black and blue Ohio flag, in the step back colors with a
Those
Prussian
are the Tiger
eagle.
Star colors.
No. Mine's more like a Prussian blue.
I mean,
think there's
yeah,
a
because
step back in
the
flag at all.
Ohio flag is me, and then the black and blue is step back, and then the Prussian eagle is for Tiger Star.
So it's
Okay.
like a goth Ohioan flag.
I kind of like it. That's like my favorite kind of.
I'm leaning towards flag 2 myself. I don't understand it, but if there's something about the design I like.
It's the Ohio flag.
That's
The
true.
Ohio flag element.
I like flag 2 because it has mysteries.
It
We
does
don't
have
know what the
mysteries.
sickle and the robot arm are for yet, or the circle, or the stars. We don't know.
Could it be
It's
for
hidden in
technocratic
mystery.
communism? Find out, kiddies.
Technocratic communism? What kind of heresy is this?
The robot sees the means of production.
Oh no.
Oh.
Wait, that's already
A bunch
happening.
of those arm robots walking out. Oh no! Arm robots.
No. No.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what that is. And then flag 6, because why not? Is from Jess, and I'm very conflicted on this flag because I have no idea what it means, but it looks good. I'm guessing the black and white mean Tiger Star.
I really
Well,
don't
you know how the
to
channel's
take
got
this.
that. The channel's got that old newsreel type motif, right? So it's kind of going in that vein.
Oh yeah,
So
that is
see,
the
that is
color
Jess was
of our
really
pod-
on
yeah,
top
that
of
is the
that.
color of our
Makes
podcast.
sense.
And then et factum est ida. Actually, I'm gonna type that. I'm gonna
What
look.
is that in Latin?
I don't know. Act factum.
It's translates to "and it was so."
And it was so.
It must be. They probably put
That's-
so
that's
that
actually kinda
happened
cool.
I
in
like that, yeah.
the
That's
Google
a-
Translate.
That's actually kind of cool. I kind of like that, and it was so. I'm just.
I imagine that is Google Translate saying like they put "so that happened" in the
Yeah, that's what
Google
I kind
Translate,
of.
and that's what came out.
That's what I kind of imagined. And I don't know what the center like.
It's like grain with like pine cones.
It sounds like us.
Or hops. I like maybe it's beer stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just plants. That's all we are.
We're just plant people.
Yeah,
All,
we're just
all we
plants.
are is plants in the wind.
That was deep.
Plants, wind, dude.
Yep.
Bill and Ted.
I keep,
get it.
No?
I keep
Yeah,
getting
okay.
told that I'm blowing up my microphone, but I do not know if this is true anymore because I keep turning it down and moving further away.
I mean, we can. I think we can hear you.
I can hear him just fine.
I can hear you.
Yeah, people can hear you.
But yes, loyal listeners, those are the 4 final flags. You will get a better description when you actually go to the survey because you'll see the flags there. But 2 of those will make it to the final round. So
Yeah.
rank those flags and hope for the best.
Check my Twitter and Tiger Star's Twitter and Step Back if you want to vote. So go do that. Lord of Lore doesn't have a Twitter yet, so
I'm a plebeian.
he is a plebeian. But yeah, so that's I'm pretty excited actually. I'm kind of biased. I'm leaning towards flag 3 or 4. Technically it's flag 4. That's the third one on the list.
This is why the people decide instead.
Well, you know what? This is an autocracy now. That's actually technically this could be an oligarchy because we're all the.
No, this is a hierarchy.
That's not even a thing. You hurt my brain.
That's what I'm here for.
This is a metallurgy.
Is that fact canon?
This is a
it is in fact
bovarchy.
canon.
Was that a pun?
Yes.
I hate you. Okay,
I was
25 minutes.
waiting-
The podcast is
I
done.
was waiting for someone
Bye,
to
everyone.
notice.
Oh boy. So anyway, Do you guys want to talk about the one interesting story that happened to you this week, or do you want to talk about the one video that you did this week?
Why not both?
Wow! I meant first. Smart Alec.
Let's start with stories. Stories are fun.
Oh boy, I need to think of mine.
We should all go before Cody, then.
Yeah, everybody go before Cody. Tristan, you had an interesting one. You tell us. Inform the class.
Depending upon how interesting you find everything. So,
I
had a drive failure this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
So my external hard drive that had all of the step back stuff on it crashed and died, and I had to buy another one super fast.
Oh,
and
boy.
then had to basically download like several terabyte large Backblaze recovery file. So I spent a good chunk of the week basically not able to do anything, and I used it to kind of obsessively drill down and reading like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, because I've been apparently obsessing over that lately.
D&D. Did you do D&D this weekend?
I did.
I do, and my Thursday night's my time.
What'd you do on Thursday?
Oh geez, we were on a boat and we got attacked by demons.
Damn. Speaking of demons, Tyler, you're doing a D&D campaign, aren't you?
It's not so much D&D. It's actually called Rogue Trader. It's D&D set in the 40K universe.
So, I think you're transporting a demon, aren't you?
Well, we have a demon called Franklin, which I believe we talked about in the last podcast. For anybody that was here to watch that train wreck. Which, for context, it is I think I said it was a 20-foot long caterpillar with flippers, a big nose, and a mustache, and it has somehow become the mascot of the fleet.
It has a mustache?
It has a mustache.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Oh boy.
But whenever anybody looks at it and it smiles at them, they take insanity points and slowly go insane.
Why is it every single D&D campaign we do, it's always centered around some creature called Franklin?
Because I have to keep that theme alive.
You
I inherited that theme. I have to keep it alive.
Yeah, ever since Mike died. It's tragic.
The demonic turtle from the deepest hells.
What? It was. Actually, it was more like a pathetic turtle that every time he fell on his back, he put the entire party in danger. But it was close. It was close. So what happened with Franklin in your campaign?
Well, Franklin was fine. He just refused to go fight the orcs. So in a result, they had a transport ship named the Spirit of Franklin, which died when the orcs blew the hell out of it.
Oh, that's tragic.
And most of their fleet was burning and crippled. Like, I think they had the Bismarck, the Phoenix of Destruction, the Valentine's Bane, and I think that was all the ships they had at that time. I don't know if I'm remembering all the rest of them, but they lost the Spirit of Franklin, and all the rest had basically had to limp back to port on fire and venting atmosphere and people.
What brought the situation?
Just random occurrence.
Oh, you just came upon orcs?
They met an orc war boss, and they decided to drop out of warp instead of just trying to outrun him.
Oh,
and they tried to fight this thing. And the thing with orc ships are that I told them all their stats are randomized like the lore. No one knows what's on an orc ship until you actually fight an orc ship. There's no standardization.
Mm-hmm.
So they fought a ship. One of these ships could have ripped apart the whole fleet by itself, and there were two of them, and they decided to stand and fight.
Oh.
And it cost them one of their transport ships and many thousands of people, and they had to limp back with the rest of their ships on fire and burning.
Oh, there was thousands of people on the ship too?
Their Jericho-class transport ship has 15,000 crew.
Oh, I was thinking this entire time like the Rogue Trader, they'd be like on a small ship.
No, they have a fleet.
Oh, wow. That's a lot different than I had envisioned.
Man, so we just like swashbuckled some demons, and you like committed like a small ethnic cleansing thing.
Well,
like
I mean, everything in 40K is like if you're not losing thousands of people, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, it's an ethnic cleansing on your front and on their front, and if it's not, that's not a battle.
And besides, the Jericho class transports are just like Liberty ships in World War II. They're very slow and very weak, and they have the smallest numbers of crew. Like their ship has like 25,000 people as standard.
So how much does it set the group back by?
It set them back about 60,000 thrones, which is the in-game currency, and they basically had enough money from their shady art auction and fight pits to go back, buy another ship, and head back out and ethnically cleanse a planet to get money.
They just casually ethnically...
Well, they didn't mean to do it. They did it by accident because I set them up for it.
What'd you do?
We opened up a tomb world on planet Valentine.
Oh,
and
no.
then long story short, the planet died when all the scarabs poured out and ate everything alive. And they took the king back to the fighting pits. And somehow, and long story short, the king died. And they, like, fistful of dollar puppeteered him to get him in the front door and threw him into the pit and said everybody bet on him. And he was just dead in the pit when they started the fight. So they got their money anyways and just left.
I always love casual ethnic cleansing. It's great. That's the lesson for
I
this.
think that's the title of this episode.
Casual
ethnic cleansing.
Casual ethnic cleansing.
Oh my.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Where's our Serbian music?
Oh God.
Oh.
Oh, I heard that. He's just like, oh.
That is simultaneously too old and too soon.
It's in that nice little.
It's in that happy, not okay spot.
It's in the VHS time. Yippee. How about you, Tiger Star? Now that I think that counts as your story.
That's done for me.
Yeah. How about you, Tiger Star? What was the awesome, amazing thing that happened to you?
Well, I had my very first tire blowout, and that was fun. So basically, I'm driving to school, and it's the day for midterm, so I could not miss class because otherwise, I'd go on fall break, and I wouldn't be able to take the midterms, and that would probably kill my grade.
Yeah.
So, like about, I'd say 2 blocks away, I accidentally, when I was making a turn, just did the thing where you go over the edge of a curb, and then as soon as the wheel went. Yeah, the wheel went back down on the road. I heard a loud popping noise and my car started shaking. And, I popped my front right tire. So, okay, that's fun. And so it was maybe 15 minutes before class started. I was 2 blocks away. And the area I was at was there were bunches of signs saying hey, don't park here or you will be towed. So I'm I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it to school. But every single time I drove the car, it just really loud the entire time because I'm literally driving on a broken tire.
Yeah.
And so it's really loud, like it's a jackhammer every single time I drive. But it's only 2 blocks away. So I'm thinking, I've got this. I have totally got this.
Oh, no.
And so I'm driving, makes the really loud noise, and naturally someone heard, and they went outside, and of course, it had to be a person who was clearly high on drugs and clearly fiddling around for a lighter because he kept mentioning, where's the lighter over and over again.
Yeah. And
he looked really sick and all this stuff. He goes, hey, your car doesn't look very well. Why don't you leave it here and I can give you a ride to school? No.
Seems
and
legit.
so I just kept driving.
Oh, come on, he was just a friendly stranger.
No,
you ever
because
think about community? Maybe he was he just really wanted to help.
Sir, your Lyft driver has arrived.
You know those
obviously not him. This seems this works good.
You know those before and after photos of when you take meth?
Yeah.
He was very clearly the after photo. So I just calmly and slowly rolled up my window and just pretend he wasn't talking to me and just kept driving forward. But the problem was, since my tire was popped, it's not like I could drive 50 miles an hour to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So it's just the slow crawl, loud jackhammer noises. It's just kind of walking to follow my car, just hey, buddy, come on, buddy, do you have a lighter? Can I take you to school? Hey, come on. So I'm just trying not to pay attention to him at all. Just it's too loud between the music and the jackhammer coming from my wheel. I can't hear you.
Oh, jeez, please go away.
Yeah, pretty much. And eventually he just kind of went and just just threw his hands in defiance and just went back home. And eventually I made it to school with 5 minutes to spare. But that's only half the story. I still had to get the tire changed. So after class is over, I do my midterm, I get out. Put on the spare tire, and the next day I go to Walmart so I can get new tires. And so they say, oh, well, there's 2 cars ahead of you, so it's going to be an hour. Oh, well, okay, that's fine. So drop off the car. I figure I can just take an hour walk because I literally have nothing else to do. And I finish the hour walk, go back inside Walmart, and my car isn't in the lot yet. And they're like, oh, well, there were actually 5 cars in front of you. So it should be another hour. Okay, then. So I ate at Subway that was inside Walmart. And then I just looked around, and I looked in the Halloween store because there was nothing else to do, and there was a Halloween store that just opened up right next to Walmart because it's that time of year.
Oh yeah.
So I spent my time look. You may have seen this Twitter rant, but I spent this time looking in the Halloween store, seeing if there were any cool fake historical helmets. There were, but they weren't very accurate, and they were very low quality, and yet they were somehow expensive.
Can I see the manager? I have some problems with the historical accuracy of this plastic helmet.
For one, they were not made of plastic, good sir. I assure you they were made of metal.
I cannot fight the Tommies in this helmet.
Yes. Do you think they would have accepted it? Of course not.
How do I describe it? So,
excuse me, this sexy gladiator costume is completely not period accurate.
Sexy
For
gladiator.
one, I am not sexy. And this says, this promised that it would be sexy. When I wear it, it does not look like that.
Cody, why are you buying Sexy Gladiator?
Do not judge me.
Sir, we cannot help with what you look like without a shirt. Hey, that's not nice. But no, also the helmets were very low quality. So imagine the stereotypical feathered Roman helmets. Now obviously they're never going to get it accurate, but whatever. I'm pretty lenient, but
I don't know. I hear they're pretty. They have a whole bunch of historians just in a basement, just looking over books and knowledge and just seeing what type of costumes they can effectively make, and be like, this has to be our 99-cent cheap cosplay has to be historically accurate. How else will drunk girls know if they're wearing historically accurate Prussian uniforms? Our brand would just be destroyed.
Yeah, but no, sadly, no, they did not put nearly that much dedication. So the plastic is so thin that if you gripped it too hard, you could puncture it.
Don't grip it, then.
Yeah, so I'm not even talking about your finger. No, not your fingernail. Just if you press it too hard with your thumb, you'll make a hole in it or something.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's colored. The way it's colored in, it looks like a kid took a golden marker and just tried to scribble color it in, and it didn't get everywhere at all. And you can tell when the markers are overlapping with each other, it's already been in the same, that type of coloring.
Yeah.
All over the helmet. So
it probably was a kid. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay,
I'll second that.
That is fair.
Some sweatshop. Just
maybe.
Trying to make it. He's just trying to do his best, Tiger Star, and yet you just judge his work. You judge his work. He lives off pennies a day. And you just I'm blaming the man, not the worker here. So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to pay the small Asian children. Whoops.
Oh boy. But yeah, it was very low quality, and part of me thought, wait, is this some sort of bad allusion to oh, this is only I don't want to say not battle scars, scratches on the helmet from is that what it's put? No, it's looking at it quickly, you could determine that's not what it was for. So yeah, very thin plastic, badly colored, and then the feathers. So ignoring the fact that these are really cheap feathers that anyone could buy from Hobby Lobby if they really wanted to, they were stuck in the helmet. That it was the little rectangular part that sticks out of the helmet at the top.
Yeah,
it was filled with styrofoam, and the feathers were stuck in there through the styrofoam. So essentially it's very obvious that if you went trick-or-treating with it, they would all molt off within 5 minutes of you just turning your head. It was a very sad Roman helmet. And then they also had the same thing for for a Crusader helmet. The exact same thing to where, you can tell it's a Crusader helmet, but it's scribble colored in, the plastic is super thin, and every time you open up the flap that goes in front of the face, it scratches the rest of the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, in terms of historical helmets, that was pretty much all they had, and I was very, very disappointed. But they had several badass swords, so I guess it kind of evens out. Anyway, so I spent an hour just guffawing at all the horrible historical helmets in there too, and just looking around, and then I make my way back to Walmart. Yeah, so it turns out there were 3 appointments that were reserved via phone that just now got here. So yeah, it's going to be like another hour. And at this point, my phone is at like 5%. So now I couldn't. So now Oh, I have to remember what it's like back in the '90s when we didn't have a phone to stare at and we were away from the house and we didn't have a TV to. No, sadly not. No, but so I'm in Walmart and I figured, well, surely I can find something to do in Walmart for an hour. So I went to the book sections. There was nothing interesting or that I haven't already read. I looked around all over the place, and there was just nothing interesting in Walmart, and there was literally just nothing to do. So I just found a bench randomly in Walmart, and I just sat there, and because there was nothing else to do, I counted ceiling tiles.
Oh no!
What'd you count to?
This is how boring it got. I got up to actually like 300 and something.
That's impressive.
Yeah, this is a pretty boring time. And then I got bored of that because I was like halfway done. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. There's got to be something else to do in Walmart. No, there was nothing else to do in Walmart.
Yeah.
Like at all. And eventually, the waiting room for the auto place on the inside had a TV. Oh, thank God. Something with a screen I can stare at. And the TV was playing, for whatever reason, an evangelical service. And it wasn't even Sunday. So I don't even understand why it was playing that when it wasn't even Sunday. This was like Wednesday at 4 p.m.
They have Wednesday service.
Is this the garage?
Not the garage, but like inside the Walmart, there's like a waiting room. So
okay, because I could get if it was the garage, because like if you were like you're usually there because you're having a pretty shitty day.
That'd be different. But like, no, this is just the waiting room where you've got the 3 seats, the counter where there's supposed to be a worker doing stuff, but there's no one, and you've still got the '90s box TV, some advertisement for a used engine, and then a single vending machine for Coke that still has the new Coke logo on it to give you a sense of how old this vending machine was. And
well, like it's something that happens in America, and this is something that I notice whenever I go down south for a while, and that is just Jesus shows up in the most odd places.
That is true.
He really does. He really does. But, so, I mean, hey, I'm a religious guy, but a sermon wasn't really going to, like, ease my boredom at that point. So, literally, I just paced. So, yes, we've gone past ceiling tiles on the board counter, and we're going to just pacing around the room. And there was no one else there to even talk to. So it's not like I could even like make awkward conversation with a stranger. Nope. Just pacing in a rectangle. Every once in a while, I try to ease the boredom by trying not to step on a crack and just like have my feet only touch the tile. But then that got boring and I just went back to normal pacing. And so after a total of 4.5 freaking hours, they're like, oh, hey, we just now got to your car. Woo! We're making progress.
Fantastic.
Oh, by the way, so it turns out one of your tires has a goose egg in it. Now, I'm not a car expert, so I had no idea what they meant by that. So I'm like, wait, so did an egg get lodged in the tire somehow? No, that just means that there's a second tire that's about to blow up, so you might as well change it while you're here.
Oh, here we go.
Yep,
That's
okay.
where they get you.
Oh boy.
Which, I mean, he showed me the tire, and it was there. So, I mean, he wasn't lying. But still, that just meant I was going to be stuck in Walmart even longer. So, you know what? Fine. As long as I don't have to wait another 4.5 hours the next time I go back. I can delay that as long as possible.
Yeah.
And so I said, sure, go ahead. And so I went back to pacing. But then I remembered, wait a minute. I'm 21 years old. I could totally look in the Lego aisle because that's something that 21-year-olds do.
Cut 20 years later, and like there's just legends of this old man who lives in Walmart playing with the Lego and yelling at people for having historically inaccurate Halloween hats.
Yeah, back in my day, Lego shit was under $20. You guys are getting ripped off. But no, just
It's just a
I'm
weird
like, why
hybrid
not?
Catman that just stalks
Yeah.
a Missouri Walmart.
It's an urban legend.
Yeah.
That sounds like
You're
an
like the
episode of like
Jersey
X
Devil.
Files.
Except you're not lethal.
Oh
You're
gosh.
bored.
You're the Lego
But yeah,
leopard or some
it was
shit.
just
Get the Lego
it was
cat.
just an aisle of Legos,
LL
and to
Gore.
to ease people's worries. This wasn't, I guess, just quote kid Legos, because yes, you had like the Star Wars Legos and the city Legos down there, but this one end had this thing called like Lego architecture. So finally, something really interesting, and these are like $30 Lego sets that build you like mini versions of like famous architectural buildings, and even the boxes said ages 15 and up. So hey, now we're getting more adult here. But so yeah, it was actually interesting.
You'll want to
for
see
about
the 18
5
plus
minutes.
Legos.
Oh no, you don't. It was interesting for like 5 minutes just looking at, oh, so this is what the Guggenheim Museum looks like in Lego form.
Mhm.
Oh, it's the street of Chicago with all the stereotypical Chicago buildings that aren't even on the same street. How lovely. But then there were only 3 sets, so that got bored really quickly. And so I just lost it and just got back to the bench and just sat there. Didn't even count ceiling tiles. I just sat there staring forward at the walls of TVs that did nothing but play the same advertisement for that same TV over and over again. Until finally I get a buzz from my phone.
Yay!
I pull it up. There's 4% left on the phone, even though I hadn't used it at all, but whatever. And it was just a reminder from my dentist. I depressingly stare back at the TV screens. But then, literally a minute later, I get another buzz, and that's finally the tired people. And so I go there, get my card, get some McDonald's, and drive the hell home. And and the worst part is, this was, since I got my tires changed the day after midterms, this was the first day of fall break, and it was the only day of fall break where I had neither school nor work. So I essentially wasted my entire true day off waiting in Walmart.
You played with Legos though, so in the end, I feel like
I didn't play with Legos.
You imagined yourself playing with Legos.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, and in the end, isn't that all that matters?
Oh look, it's that giant ass Lego Millennium Falcon I begged to get when I was 15, but never got.
Don't worry,
I
because of The Last Jedi, I'm sure there'll be a lot of them on the market.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
pretty much
Wars.
It's just like now that like I have money from like jobs and stuff, and I'm like over 18 and can do whatever the hell I want. And there's this thing called Amazon. I can now like indulge all of my lost potential childhood memories on Lego sets now.
Bionicles. Always Bionicles.
Yes, I still have my Bionicles, actually.
Tiger Star, I just gotta say, I love you. I love you, man. This
story is great.
The way
I'm not sure how that story was great, but there sure was a lot of it.
The way that you talk about your day is like exactly how Izzy talks about her day. Like, I say, how was your day? What happened? Oh, I woke up, I ate cereal, I read this article, I went to work, and then this, like, basically 5 minutes later about what happens at work, and then I came home, I did this, and it's usually like a 15-minute thing of what she did with her day, and then she says, how was your day? I sat on the computer and I worked on a video. And that was it.
Yeah,
that's the
conversation
conversation that's like the max I can contribute to what my day was. And if I have to go into the specifics, I'll say like I went to Panda Express, and that's it. That's the max I divert.
Never been to Panda Express.
You haven't? We got one in Pittsburgh.
Is it good?
Yeah, I've never been to Panda Express
like,
either. I don't think they have them here.
I have had it 4 times in the last week and a half.
Dude, I eat McDonald's daily. Don't even talk to me about that.
But like whenever all you do is sit at a computer and work on stuff, I feel like so many years of doing this, I've just learned ways to stretch out stories of the most boring things possible. And it probably helps that I've listened to so many podcasts that are good at doing that. So like Hardcore History, how he'll take one historical event and somehow stretch it out to like 3.5
Dan
hours.
Carlin is a master at taking and stretching. And he came like,
Ancient
that's not a bad thing.
Rome.
And he's like, Rome. And then
It's
they fought.
Modern comparison.
And you would never think that they would do that. This is the equivalent of, and then he goes on to like some other unrelated thing, and then it's sort of related at the end of the 5-minute rant.
And
then he does this sort of thing.
Will still last an hour before you get back to the actual story. And then when you finish the 3.5-hour podcast, you look at the title and it's like, oh, part 1. Here we go.
And then he always ends it. Every single time he ends with a point, he always does this sort of thing. He does a
Yep, that's it.
And that's every single time Dan Carlin ever makes a point. And it was great. I still watch every single one, but he's a master of it. Okay, now I think
podcasts have those double length things, those double speed play back things.
Yeah,
because
I forgot what
5-hour long hardcore history episodes.
I like listening to slow stuff.
Roman
though.
Empire.
It's more hypnotic. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't like listening to really fast things because I'm stupid, so my brain doesn't retain it as fast. But if it's slower, I think that's even in the way that I speak and I say in my videos. But do I speak kind of?
You speak slower than me.
Yeah, so.
And you know me, I can talk incredibly fast if I need to.
Yeah, I'm not that type of. I'm a slow talker. I like kind of draw everything out. I don't know. Matches my voice, I guess. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. Anyway, Tiger Star. Yeah, you talk you explain your day just like Izzy does, and it's funny. It's just never changed. It's great.
Well, Cody, in the 5 seconds of silence, quite a lot has changed since we last spoke.
Really?
A lot has changed.
What happened with you?
I shifted my chair an inch to the right.
Oh no.
And then I shifted it to the left another ½ inch because it wasn't quite center, and that bothered me.
Oh man. You know what I did?
Then I leaned back and my head hit the window. I said, ouch, off screen. And then I sat back up, realizing that was a stupid idea to lean back like that without thinking about how close the window was. And then you spoke, and by that point, so much had changed.
I'm just imagining Dan Carlin narrating the history of your day, and he's like, little did Tiger Star know that his day would be forever changed when his tire went flat. Tires were invented by the ancient Babylonians.
Oh, goodness.
And then over the history, we are now left in a 21st century Missouri. And Missouri was conquered in 1830 by the United States from the whatever tribe. And then this eventually has led to Tiger Star going into Walmart, a symbol of mass consumerism. And that's, yeah. That's Dan Carlin.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I just realize if I ever get cancer and I get the Make-A-Wish thing where I get one wish that happens no matter what, that will be my thing. I want Dan Carlin to narrate that day and publish that as a podcast for all to hear, and it's boring yet somehow interesting glory.
Yeah,
so Tyler.
Yes.
Did you do something this week?
No, we said what he did this week.
I talked what I did. I just played D&D.
Oh yeah.
I successfully segued your story into his story. That's called showmanship. Ooh, let's all have a round of applause for Cody. What am I doing with my life?
I was trying to applaud with you, but because I'm using push to talk, it's kind of hard to clap with one hand and press a button at the same time. So
it's also hard to clap when you don't feel like clapping.
I just plain didn't clap.
Thank you, Tris. Yeah, he was just staring at me blankly. It crushed my soul. Made me sad.
So, Cody, did you finally collect your wits to make your story happen?
I did actually.
What did you do?
I thought, what was the one thing
sometime
I did
during Volume
week?
3 of Tiger Star's Epic?
Yeah, it's not as epic or as grandiose as Tiger Star's. I'm a simple man, simple origins. So what I did was I went onto a Facebook group where a bunch of digital art majors were sketching, and I decided to just draw and just basically dedicate all of my night to just drawing and posting it on there. So what ended up happening was there's this whole Facebook group where a bunch of people from my local college post sketches of stuff, and there is a theme for this month that everybody would post a different creature. Like they would sketch a creature and then post it every single day. So it'd be like a demon. Everyone would draw a demon one day. Everybody would draw like an elf the next day. It's kind of fun, pretty fun. And so I started doing this. Well, me posting this isn't the interesting part. The interesting part is the type of people that actually are posting on it. I have not realized how many furries there are in Northwest Ohio.
Oh, no, you found them.
Oh, yeah.
They're at BG. I know they're
Oh,
there.
oh, yeah. And then they incorporate their creatures into their furry stuff. So somebody had to draw, like, our thing was an Oni, the Japanese demon.
Oh, okay.
Somebody drew an Oni as, like, a fox.
No.
Which one breaks the rules, because that's not an Oni. And I went onto his page, and he just has everything he does is just furries. But this is like his major.
Why?
Like
So
he's a
you
digital
get
art major.
Why?
But
You
he
can get a
just draws
bachelor in
furries.
furry.
Huh?
You can get a bachelor's in furry.
In
Furry
like
studies.
Knowing our college, that's a very likely possibility.
Why
it's like
does
gender
my
studies, but it's like
certificate have
furry
cat
studies.
hair on it?
You like talk about like the contributions of furry Americans in history, like Sitting Bull, because his name was an animal, so obviously he was a furry.
Can we buy Tomahawk cruise missiles yet? Did
The
they legalize those
the history of furries goes all the way back to ancient Egypt when someone thought it was a good idea to put the head of an animal on a person. They had no idea what they had to begun.
Did you know that Ben Franklin was originally a furry?
gosh.
And the reason he wanted it to be a turkey as America's national animal was because he was sexually attracted to them.
yet? Why
Cody,
In fact,
Cody,
the turkey
no.
Why would you do
don't
this?
say this. Think of the fan art.
Oh
my
god.
God.
Ben Franklin and turkeys.
Cody,
No.
you started this. This is now something you've started.
No. It's only a thing if you say I started it. It's not a thing.
Cody started it.
It's not a thing. I'm not gonna have that be an origin on this.
No, it's too late.
Jeez.
It's already happened. What's happened has happened. I mean, just the fact that like I decide, hey, I'm gonna have the mascot of my channel just be a cat that has a piece of clothing and a helmet on, and now every single person thinks I'm a furry. So trust me, once the lid of Pandora's box has been opened, it's too late, Cody. You are going to see Franklin turkeys everywhere, and you will shudder.
I'm just imagining
in rot
one.
and fear.
I'm just imagining one live stream. We just change all of our avatars to furries for no reason.
I will reject this.
I will reject it too, and I'll be the one that makes it. But still,
Welcome to So That Yift.
See, they're doing it now. They're already saying that I am.
This went off the rails. Yeah, so see, Tiger Star, this is why you talking about your day is better than mine, because ours has now led to a weird sexual relationship between a founding father and poultry.
You made it sexual.
I didn't make it sexual. Furries
Oh.
are sexual. Furries are. I think we are in all agreement.
I'm popping smoke on this whole thing.
Just get out.
Where's
while you
the
can.
helicopter?
Just get out while you can.
Where's the helicopter?
I envy you. I've dug myself in this hole. Okay, anyway, going off of that was my epic story, was I discovered how many
So
things
we
of
had
those
two
are-
cases of D&D, a fantastic story of walking around Walmart, and that.
I spend all of
Alright.
my day on the internet. Like, that is all I do. So if there's anything interesting in my life, it's just on the internet. And that's it.
So, Tiger Star, I heard you made a video about something this week.
Yeah, Tiger
Yes,
Star,
I did.
please save us.
So the video that I made this week, it was over the first car list war, and that's basically one of the surprisingly many civil wars that happened in Spain. And so basically, this is after Napoleon and all that. So the Enlightenment and all that stuff was still around.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty much a civil war over whether Spain should become more of a liberal constitutional monarchy in the sense of like, oh, we have these brand new liberal devices called parliaments. Oh, so wow, I've never heard of such things before. These were all brand new ideas, but then of course you have the people who goes, no, we still want an authoritarian king, and so it was just pretty much a civil war over that. Should the king have a lot of power or all the power? And that was pretty much the entire civil war. But what's really ironic though is the main bases of the Carlists, which were the group that wanted the king to have all the power.
Mm-hmm.
Their main bases were in the Basque lands and Catalonia, which is hilariously ironic concerning what's going on right now and what's been happening for the past few decades.
Oh, Catalonia.
They actually they postponed, like quote unquote postponed the independence thing until further notice.
Quote unquote.
They were independent for 8 seconds.
As in, we don't want to be beaten by police. It's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, who won in the end? Out of
the Carlists lost pretty bad because, as you can imagine, most of the people liked the idea of having a say in how things went in Spain.
Yeah.
Especially because this is the 1800s, where Spain is nowhere near the world power anymore. Like, they had literally just lost all of their colonies in the Americas except for Cuba and Puerto Rico, like a decade or two ago. So I mean, they were pretty done with the idea of an absolute Spanish monarchy. But the Carlists didn't go away, and there actually ended up later being a second and third Carlist war, and they lost still. But so it was a civil war in Spain. It was fun making. So yeah.
Man, it really sounds like it sucked to live in Europe until basically maybe 20 years ago.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it would. No, I think in Spain it would have sucked until
always
20 years ago. But everything else in Europe, I think it would have been pretty fine. So, yeah.
You see, as long as it's post polio vaccine, I'd be pretty happy.
But polio is good for the soul.
It builds character.
Maybe if you're Calvin's dad, but
that's why kids today are so weak. They haven't dealt with polio.
The strong have not inherited the weak's place.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I will inject polio into my leg just so I can be stronger as a result. That's what FDR was such a good president. It was because of the polio, even though he actually didn't have polio. Fun fact. But I don't care. I'm going to have polio anyway.
Wait, he didn't? I thought he did.
He had some disease that was like polio, but it wasn't. And
I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, it was another fun, crippling disease. So
there was just so many to choose from.
Yeah, there are. It's just unlimited possibilities.
Okay, so it's kind of like a cold versus flu thing.
Yeah, except children get crippled. But yeah,
just reach into the grab bag and see what you get.
There's so many options to choose from. I don't know which.
Pull out a number.
I got the one that leaves me in the iron lung.
Congratulations, you got the vaccine and got autism. Yeah.
Oh God, no!
Oh no!
All that Pandora's box is getting knocked
No,
out.
that's not. That's actually a joke. That's not a statement of any kind.
Good, because I would begin to question your sanity.
No, that's I like being edgy.
On a random note, when you realize that argument, just what that really means, what that really says is, I would rather have my kid have a debilitating disease and or die rather than have autism, which is really horrible and sad if you think about it.
It's so
autism, at least you're still a functioning human.
Yeah.
If I had autism spectrum disorder, I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, I know. I actually, when I was a kid, they didn't think I had autism, but they thought I had the lesser version. They thought I had Asperger's.
Oh.
Thankfully, I outgrew it, but I was a weird kid back then. But
is this before you met us?
I mean, you're kids. Kids are going to be weird. I feel like people overly diagnose those type of things. For example, wow, your kid is really hyper. He might have ADHD. Well, or he could just be a kid and
better get him all these meds.
Yep, put him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad though. About it's offensive saying, I would rather have my kid have this horrible disease than have autism. And it's gotten so bad, it started leaking into pet culture too. There are people that won't get their dogs vaccinated because they don't want little puppers having autism.
That is quite possibly the stupidest thing I've heard in all of tonight.
How
I
would that
assure you
even
it's real.
affect your pets?
My dog is so strong in the spectrum. He's nonverbal.
I just
said
imagine
anything
you
to me
looking
in
at
years.
your pug, and you're just
My-
oh no, he's autistic.
I already
Hey,
say that about
guys,
them.
you
Yeah, but
won't
they're
believe
pugs.
it.
They're already...
My dog got Asperger's, and now he's just randomly obsessed with chasing his own tail. How could this have happened? It must have been those vaccines. Oh, just some people are-
Yeah, that's the thing that people want. Oh no, my dog is it's licking out of the toilet. It must have been that. How do you even tell if a dog has autism?
Science.
Like, do you take them to kindergarten, and if they don't interact well with the other dogs in kindergarten, you get a physician, and
You
they
take him to a dog therapist.
yeah, take them a little dog therapist.
Taking the Caesar.
Oh no, your dog's playing Minecraft. I'm sorry.
Well, Fido.
How
Well,
dare you?
Fido, how does that make you feel? Well, he definitely has autism. Let's give
Oh
him the
no,
medication.
he's
He
making a
says life is rough.
Minecraft parody video. No!
What?
Oh.
Foofles, no.
You
Vaccines.
named your dog some weird names.
Yeah. Well,
Is there
I
another
can't think of
name?
an
It's
actual
getting
regular
weird.
name for a dog. I either think of Fooples, Fluffers, Waffles, Pupper.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, you have Jimmy.
I have a dog named Jimmy, Owen, and Pancho Villa.
Oh, Pancho Villa. I've never
See-
actually seen the whole time you've had Pancho Villa. Never saw him once.
He's at the house. He actually got in my face last night because I was laying in his spot on my parents' couch, and he jumped up on my chest and just stared at me and raised his hair up on his back of his back like I was in his spot and I was annoying him.
Is he like a bigger Chihuahua?
No, he's a tiny Chihuahua.
Oh, he is?
He just thinks he runs everything.
Is he the rat dog Chihuahua?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I gotta think. My cat's probably bigger than Pancho.
He is. I'd say he's about a good, maybe got a few pounds over him.
I gotta say, dog breeding, when you breed a dog to be that small, I feel so sorry for them.
Yeah.
I'm
You
reminded
broke
of
it.
that Rick and
Like,
Morty.
them
episode.
Broke its genes.
And bulldogs. Like, those poor creatures. They are, literally not meant to be at all.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
everything about them was genetically designed to break down and fail and give them a horrible, miserable life.
Yeah.
But
Have you
they're
ever
dogs, so
seen
they're
them
happy
interacting
anyway.
with other dogs? All the other dogs are super happy and go lucky and everything. And that's you can have a 2-year-old bulldog and they've already given up on life.
Yep.
They
Can
are
you
already
sue
that
somebody for genetic
60-year-old
abuse?
retiree trying to get that diabetes medicine. They never had a chance. It is the saddest thing. They are the average 25-year-old American. Anyway,
Oh. On the subject of pet names, though, I imagine that, when I'm settled down in my own house and I get a dog or a cat or something, I feel like what's going to happen is, all the rejected names for my potential future kids, if I decide to have any, will go to the pet because my wife will just be like, no. It's like, hey, how about we name our hypothetical first kid Napoleon? No. Well, okay, I guess I'm naming my dog Napoleon then.
oh
So,
god, what if you
all of
did
my
name your
pets
kid
are gonna have,
Napoleon? That'd be-
He'd have to be
At least that
Napoleon
could be
Dynamite.
shortened to, Leo or
that'd be
something.
Napoleon, huh?
But all my pet names, all the pets are going to have names of historical figures. Come on, Napoleon and Bismarck, let's go on your daily walk.
He's a dash.
Napoleon and Bismarck would be adorable names for two dogs.
They would.
Rudolph and Bismarck.
Hey, your dog is sure playful with the other dogs. He's almost like, wait, is your dog leading a raid with the other dogs?
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, it's the German Shepherd in him. Oh, what's his name? Bismarck.
He's just beating back all of the poodles.
Find the poodles, go fight them.
Poodles are just cowering and running, and they're just barking, but it's from the other edge of the dog park that they don't control anymore.
Yeah, and then he.
And then
he
there's just
stole- he
on the
stole- he
there's
stole
a
the dogs.
pond, and then there's a bunch of bulldogs just sitting there all depressed, thinking
And
we should do something,
German
but we're already
Shepherd,
so fat and can't do it.
They steal an obscure bag of dog treats named Alsace and Lorraine's dog treats, and they just steal it from the poodles, and the poodles get really upset.
I was trying to find a way to work Alsace Lorraine into that joke, and you beat me to the punch. Congratulations, sir.
I always find a way.
I'm just imagining then after the German Shepherds are like controlling everything and the poodles are kind of slowly fighting them back, then there's just like a ton of golden retrievers just hopping over like, I want in on this too.
This looks like a good time.
And they just chase the German Shepherds
this
away.
This is all happening in a park, and then just randomly like a group of like Marines who just got back from their deployment or something, they're like having a party in the park, and they all bring nothing but like just golden retrievers.
Yeah, just the most happiest go lucky dogs, and they're just like just running and chasing after them, and they're just thinking it's the grandest old time.
The patriotic music is playing at the Marines barbecue or whatever, as all the dogs just run over and just tackle all the German Shepherds.
I like to think of the golden retriever as America.
I'd like to think the pug is America. We're not very much to look at anymore, but we know how to have a good time.
We once were at the seat of royalty, and now all we do is
sleep.
Have our eyeballs occasionally pop out.
I really like the idea of the golden retriever as the dog that represents America because it looks nice and friendly, but if you look at the statistics, it kills more people than any other dog.
That's true.
Gosh, what would be the Canadian dog, Tristan?
Lab.
Oh, lab.
Oh, we got the Newfoundland retriever or whatever.
Oh yeah, you do.
Big water dog.
Yep, that works. I'm fine with that.
So we go from ironic Catalonian authoritarian civil wars across Spain up to Napoleonic warmongering German shepherds, bulldogs, and golden retriever marine barbecue parties.
Yeah.
This is why
that happened.
I love podcasts.
Yeah, it's good production value.
It's the name of the podcast.
So that.
Whoa. Crazy.
So yeah, that was my video this week. Did any of you guys make a video this week?
Oh yeah, that was the original segment.
Yes,
I completely forgot about that. Tristan, what did you do?
Well, because of Thanksgiving or my death, I had two videos, I guess, between the two. One was on the gay life of Prohibition America, which was pretty fun. And then the most recent one was a collaboration with a channel called Professor Elliot, and it was about garum, the Roman fermented fish guts.
I have many questions for both of those.
I'm raising many questions.
First, gay life for Prohibition era?
Yeah, there was like a secret, like there's like a whole gay community and stuff like that was actually like really well developed, and they had like their kind of own internal culture that was going on in Prohibition era America.
I'm surprised that this was as prominent as it was. I would expect it for like the 60s. But like
No, actually like things got worse in like the 30s, because in the 1920s you could still like bribe police officers to look the other way, and the like kind of cultural stuff they were doing was so popular that they really had
like cracked down on it.
Yeah, no one was cracking down because their shows were so popular, and you could bribe a lot of police officers. So they managed to kind of exist in this own little crack. But it was like the kind of Red Scare and the Depression and a bunch of other stuff that led to like the kind of crackdown and people actually hiding, which kind of continued until like, well, today to an extent.
Weird. I never actually would have thought of that.
Neither would I.
What was the second one?
Second one was about Roman garum, which I'm sure like people have written so many like stories about now, which was this sauce that was really popular in the Roman Empire that was made by basically taking like whatever the viscera is left over after you clean fish and putting it in a jar with a whole bunch of salt and then leaving it in the sun to ferment for 3 months.
Huh.
And so I did it as a collaboration with another channel, a guy named Professor Elliot. And I did a video where I talked about like the history of garum. And then he did a video where he actually made and ate it.
What? Oh, geez. So I take it he's not like a traditional history channel.
What?
He does like history and like urban exploration and stuff, but he has this series called Fantastic Feasts and Where to Find Them. And he does like kind of like historical and random like strange foods. and then he actually makes them and eats them. And he did garum.
It kind of reminds me of like a combination of like Anthony Bourdain and Primitive Technology, but like
That would be a
combined.
great channel. I would subscribe to the shit out of that channel.
I would too. Like, damn, yeah, I'd do that.
Cody, let's make a cooking show.
Oh no.
But
No,
yeah, if you like,
you know,
if you
I
like the
suck
kind
at
of stuff that
cooking.
we
So
do,
do I.
you guys out there
Alternate
in the
recipes for your favorite dishes. Cooking with Cody.
Yeah, they're not
If you
actually.
guys
It's
out
not
there
actually
like
bad
this,
food.
you guys
It's just
would like
alternate
Professor Elliott. He's
recipes.
Let's show you how to make a cake without flour.
Let's show you how to make a cake, but it's all gooey and it doesn't taste like a cake at all. In fact, we couldn't even figure out the oven. So you just get this pudding.
We tried to throw it in the oven, but we didn't know how to turn it on, so we just let it sit in there for a few hours.
I think the cat got in it accidentally. We might have put the cat in the oven, but who knows?
We don't know.
We don't know. Who knows? That's the fun of it. That's the
So
mystery.
yeah, those are my 2 videos this week, and I was pretty excited for both of them.
Cool. I like it.
But apparently,
Tyler?
Yep.
I'll give you the verdict. I'll say that Elliot said that the sauce was good, but smelled really, really bad to the point where he almost threw up.
I'm surprised.
That sums up Rome quite well.
Yeah.
Tastes
It looked-
good, smells really bad.
I'm the only one that clapped at that.
Pax Romana.
Pax Romana. Yeah.
Pax Romana Aeterna.
YouTube root.
What was it? Oh, you didn't. Oh, actually, you know what? Since we haven't actually, what is going to be the first video that you actually make?
Probably the first video I'm going to do is going to be an introduction to the channel. That's.
I meant
seems
like
the most
that's
lo-
not introduction.
Oh,
to
that's
the channel.
not the intro.
Yes.
I still have no idea what my first video is going to be.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what my very first actual of good content video is going to be.
Well, when you figure it out,
You will be the first to know, Cody.
they will be the first. To know.
They will be the first to know. Well, I like to keep people guessing. I'm a showman.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I've been on stages and had many thousands of people in front of me with my racing career and all that. I'm a showman by heart.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, you fit for this.
I used to be someone cool.
Hey, me too. That's not a joke. Yeah, I'm with you there.
You're still cool, Cody.
I can never. Bite
Thanks,
that.
Mom.
Cody's part of the cool kids club. No,
Yeah, set the lunch table.
you sat at our lunch table. You were kind of cool. No, we weren't cool back then.
We were what I would call perfectly average.
We weren't perfectly average.
What?
Most of us were insane.
I mean, like in the hierarchy of the school,
Most of us were still
we
insane.
were like right there. You were insane.
Yes, and I made everybody else go insane by just being around me.
Nobody else. We thought you were crazy because you were saying stuff like the 501st, like you were like when we were in 7th grade. He kept this entire bit the whole year.
There's a better one, and you weren't there for that. And Riley and Caleb know about it because they were at the table after you left the table. It was a different lunch period.
Was this?
This was when we
Ninth
got
grade?
that kid to believe I bought a Russian spy satellite off eBay, and we kept this joke going for a solid year. And he, honest to God, believed me.
I was at the lunch table
Okay.
of 8th grade.
It wasn't 8th grade, it was freshman year.
I actually have a really good story semi-related to that in the sense of
Oh, no.
I pranked someone really bad and it was hilarious and sad at the same time.
I'm gonna
Tell
go
us.
put on a pot of coffee.
Okay, so I
Someone
have
fired.
I have 2 younger siblings. They're both brothers, and my youngest brother used to be such a brat. It was just horrible. And so, just the casual joke of like, oh, if you don't shape up, we'll send you to military school. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. One day I decided, you know what? I'm going to convince him that he's actually being sent to military school. And
Oh.
I actually got my dad to go along with it, which made it even better. But in high school, my freshman chemistry teacher was actually in the military. And so I'm like, hey, do you by chance have this sounds kind of silly, like official U.S. military envelopes and stamps and stuff?
Yeah.
And he just kind of looks at me and goes, well, actually, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of extra stuff. So like, yes, this is perfect. So I tell him oh, I'm just pranking my brother. And he goes, oh, that's awesome. Take them all. So he just gave me like all of these official looking orange envelopes that have military stamps on them and official like both the mail stamp kind and the like press stamp kind and all this stuff. And it turns out that the state of Missouri does have a semi-military summer camp thing. And coincidentally, they had all of the forms for that camp printable. And my high school library foolishly had unlimited free printing. So I printed off every single form from that website, every single form that was needed.
That's commitment.
Whether it was, like set like, oh, 5 pages on saying who you are, your vaccination history, your important information, all that stuff, and then like another 5 pages for like all of your like your size, your weight, and stuff like that for like your suits that they were going to give you, and like all this stuff. And coincidentally, this was specifically for people that were like going into 6th grade, which happened to be the grade that he was going into. So this was all perfect. And all in all, I printed off literally like 90 pages worth of forms, and I stuffed them in the envelope and I put it in there, and I put them in the mailbox because my brother gets home from school after I do, and he always just gets the mail just because, that's what he does. Get the mail since you're the last one home. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I just put it in the mailbox and I just wait. And so he gets off the bus. He gets the mail. He sees the giant envelope that's for him and just goes, oh, cool. And he just kind of walks into the house, and then he just sets all the stuff on the counter and just like looks at the envelope. Why does the envelope have a U.S. military stamp on it?
Oh.
And so as soon as he like looks at me, I purposefully, concernedly look at my father like, oh, did we end up going along with that? And then he just kind of starts freaking out and opens the envelope and sees like all these forms for like, just like all the forms of like the summer military camp for up and coming 6th grade boys of Missouri. with all these, all the stuff on there. There's even like, I should have mentioned this earlier, but part of the forms, they also had a brochure for the camp too that you could print off. So, there's the brochure too that has like all the photographs of like, like the rock climbing and the rope, whatever, and the latrines and the mess hall.
All the fun. You get to do all those kiddies.
Yeah, yes. At the end, he's like, this sounds badass. And then he's actually like sad that he doesn't get to go.
No, trust me.
No, then you have to just keep the joke and just send him away. That's like
just to give you an idea, this is a person where like he wasn't like lazy, but he did not like things like gym class and stuff like that. So like this, like his idea of a perfect day, understandably, was just playing on a Game Boy Advanced all day, which, hey, as a 90s kid, I can relate to that, but still, he needed this prank really badly. And so just looking at all the forums and just seeing all this stuff, and he just started breaking down and crying. And I'm just like trying not to lose it. I certainly wasn't feeling bad, but I was trying not to lose it. And my dad at first was like quite impressed that like I went that far. And he just kind of gives me a look. I'm just like, damn, son, you really printed all that stuff off? but then as soon as like he stopped crying, just like goes to my dad's like, please, you can't send me there. And then the dad just goes along with it perfectly and just goes, hey, look, man, we weren't joking. We literally dropped references several times that we were probably going to send you there, but you didn't listen. And he was just the whole, I'll mow the lawn for the rest of the year. I'll do the dishes forever. Like, just all the typical whatever to get out of it.
Yeah.
And my dad just perfectly just like rolls his eyes, just like, yeah, right. Like, that's going to change you. And just like all this stuff. And then he just like runs to his room, closes the door, and he's just like, just crying. And then we're just like trying so hard not to laugh. Just so hard not to laugh. Trying so hard not to laugh. And eventually just at one point, he just comes out of the room and just stopped crying, and he's just like, "Was this some sort of prank?" And we're thinking, "Oh, should we end it?" Of course not. So we're just like, "Well, no. These are actual forms. We got this in the mail today. Like I ordered this, so we continued to camp." They started crying again, and then I started feeling bad. I'm like, oh, okay, no, it was a prank. Which of course naturally goes, oh, well, screw you then, and just went back to his normal self. It's like, wow,
just instantly composes.
Well, now that that's
like
over,
it's all fine. He's just crying 1 minute. Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah, so that was my story. And apparently my lights on my car are on, so I will be right back in like 2 minutes.
Okay. Actually, funny, speaking of... Wait, what were you going to say?
I mean, I was going to say that we had a lot of... I went to a trade school for basically the police academy, and let me tell you, the stories that I can tell you about handing over a bunch of police and military equipment to a bunch of juniors and seniors in high school... Oh boy, it got fun pretty quick.
Oh man, Penta, for context, he went to...
It's a trade school in our area where 16 vastly different schools feed into, and it's a nightmare.
It's kind of the school where nobody wants their people... Like, they basically send all the kids that
they send the rejects and the screw-ups to Penna. Yeah. And then they just expect it to work in the end.
And so they just keep them all in one place, and that's where Tyler was, and they had a police program.
And I got into the police program, and... It was bad. We were actually the first responders. Whenever there was like a fight that they didn't want to send one of our like 6 cops to go deal with, we would get sent up there to do it. But our training wasn't really completed, so we were just told go break up the fights whenever we were told to like go deploy and do stuff. So go to break up fights is put riot gear on and get batons and go join the fight and end the fight.
So you're just basically free paid mercenaries.
We weren't so much mercenaries. We were just having the times of our lives in heavy, heavy plate gear with riot shields and riot helmets.
Well, how good was your actual like equipment though?
Oh, it was top notch.
Oh, it was actual authentic.
It was directly from the sheriff's department.
Oh boy.
So everything we had was legit. We had OC spray that we would use on each other occasionally.
You know what's sad? I actually could imagine that's the only gear you would need for that situation. Is like just for context. It's like everyone in the area, all the bad rejects in the area. So you guys had fights.
We had
the time.
Every morning. Because the first year I rode the bus, because it starts at sophomore year and goes to senior year. If you're a freshman, you have to go at least 1 year at your school, and then you can go to Penna. And then it's when you're there as a sophomore, it's like a sophomore like almost like a probationary program to see like if you actually are going to be able to physically go to this school and get in. And here's context for how bad it was when I was there. My sophomore class back in, what would you say, 2011?
So
we were sophomores?
Yeah.
So 2011, they actually thought about canceling the entire sophomore program because of how bad my class was. They thought about just ending the whole program right then and there because of how bad all we were.
Oh, yeah.
And it got even better when they kicked half those kids out, and the ones they kicked out actually were the good ones.
No.
Yeah, they kicked out all the good ones, and they kept the screw-ups like me and everybody else.
The leadership
that's
for that
why
whole
cops are the
school
way they
was
are.
horrible.
It was horrid. Like, there was really one person at the top. His name was Dave, and he was he's actually, I believe, one of the principals there now. He was really cool. He kind of understood why everything was happening and he kind of tried to like alleviate all the pressures, because you're taking basically the school we come from, our stereotype is known as like the rich rednecks, which we're rednecks with money essentially is what our school is.
Yeah,
and because most of the schools will feed in are farm schools. Then you have some schools that it's borderline inner city, and you mix those kids with those kids where you have basically full-on Confederate flag flying, yeehaw yelling people constantly, and then you have people that want to be gangbangers. It's not gonna be fun in like that environment.
I think in Northwest Ohio, there's like certainly just a down split.
There is.
Yeah. Like,
and
I think
you can
once
tell,
once you cross one region,
when the doors to the buses open, because every school had to get in the line when they drop off their kids off their bus, and they all walk in with school. You could immediately tell which school was getting off that bus.
Yeah,
I had it down to a T which stereotype was getting off that bus, because every school was known for something.
Yeah, Anthony Wayne I always found was interesting because
what I miss.
You could even tell going to college, like going to my school, I knew the people that were from Anthony Wayne.
Oh yeah.
Like, they weren't even in our class. You could just tell by how they looked, by the way that they dressed,
by the vehicles they drove. You could tell who we were. Like basically at Penna, most of the kids that were from Anthony Wayne drove trucks. I drove a truck, and they weren't complete like rust piles, but they were at least good enough to where they looked respectable.
Yeah.
And then you had the super rich rednecks from a different school that had really nice brand new trucks, and then there was Swanton, which is known as Swantucky in our area, and they have, I don't even know how it's street legal.
Swanton's the joke of the entire region.
That is where the dumbest of rednecks come from, at least in terms of Penna.
Like even from Delta, Swanton was a joke.
We hear from Delta, and I hang out in Wasion, so we know some pretty stupid people in our towns we grew up in.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, getting back to my story, probably the best example I can give of us running amok with all this gear was we were told that this is something that actually happened. There was all kinds of different programs in the school from criminal justice was in our wing. We had like cosmetology, medical sciences, digital video production, all kinds of automotive and construction stuff. And everybody had their own wing, and everybody just kind of stayed in their own wing with their own people. And
it sounds like segregation.
It is. It really is. Because everybody had different color uniforms and wore all day long, so everybody knew exactly who you were with at all times. Like, we stood out the most because we had police training BDUs and boots on.
Yeah.
And we almost always had our training gun belts on, so we knew exactly who we were. We could point each other out immediately, and we all had, like, we had the running joke. We were the Aryans of that school because we were all white, we were all blonde, and we all had shaved heads. And it looked really suspicious whenever we'd go anywhere all together. It looked really bad.
I'm just thinking that...
I joined into this conversation about halfway through, and I already feel suspicious towards you guys.
Tiger Star, just for context, he basically lived in a teen dystopian novel, and they just separated everyone in artificial shit.
Well,
really
see, there's your YouTube now. You can make a mini series on YouTube based around this.
Based on horrible young adult novel ideas.
Yes, and instead of hiring actors, you can just use like puppets or something.
I have a lot of socks. Let's make this happen.
Actually, remember when we had the idea? Wait, your idea for War Torn was a different idea from mine.
I gave you the general premise, and then you changed a lot of stuff around to make it easier to film. I think because my idea.
Wait, what was your premise?
Mutants, nukes, chemical warfare, large battles.
Okay, mine was entirely different.
Yeah, I gave you the general premise. So it's Northwest Ohio. It's a small core group, and then that's pretty much all you kept, and then you went a completely different direction with it.
Yeah, well, mine was pretty much every single town became its own nation.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that now.
Yeah, yep. And it was interesting. I always thought it was. I wanted to do it, but then I realized nobody would even care outside of it.
Right.
It would just seem like random towns fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all the towns were basically fighting each other, and the interstate that we had was like the equivalent of a river.
It was basically the equivalent of the Mason-Dixon line. Like, you don't cross that line.
No, the interstate was the equivalent of like people would use it for trade.
I thought that was the border between everything.
No, the river was the border.
Oh, the actual river was the border.
Because Bowling Green controlled everything south of the river. That's right.
And then we had, like, the Monclova militia, like, living in the woods.
Yeah, Monclova...
Getting oppressed constantly.
Monclova pretty much became, like, their own, like, they just were in oak openings. White House and Waterville, for some reason, like, constantly hated each other, even though they were, like, basically the same.
I am just now imagining, like, multiple Dale Gribbles leading their own militia with Ohioan accents.
That's pretty much what it came down to, yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, we did that little interview snippet where we had, like, people from Waterville, White House, Monclova, and then we had Shady Phil as the leader of White House or something.
That was actually
That actually came out pretty good, because you just told us to speak these questions, and we all answered it exactly how you wanted it to go without any prior knowledge.
That was really good.
Because I did the Monclova segment, and I was just very distrustful of everyone, and already plotting to just stab everyone in the back immediately after everything's done.
Well, I talked to Mike. He had his own faction called the Homestead.
I remember that.
And they lived out in the woods. And then, Monclova was fighting a two-way war between Maumee and Waterville. They were both trying to get Monclova.
Yeah. And there were a number of our people that had defected to both sides, and we're just trying to fight a two-front war on both sides.
And then once you passed, Swanton, it became the Western States, which was just Defiance and Delta and Wasion all united into it, which logistically would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they would even be able to hold all down that land. Mm-hmm. But I've always wanted the United States just to collapse, just to see if they would do that. But who knows? Anyway, and Toledo was just a no-go zone.
Just do not go.
It was like, you go to Toledo, you never exist anymore.
You never come back.
I don't know why
as
we're
I-
discussing this. It's not like anybody would even know what
Well, we
we're
made
talking
that cool
about.
Civs map.
Oh, we never played it.
Never did.
Well, because I made that Civs map, and then I couldn't figure out how to port
That's
it.
right. We couldn't figure out how to make the multiplayer work.
Yeah. That would be a cool RPG, though.
I would.
Oh, well.
Well, then.
Wow.
So,
we
questions?
Yeah. Oh, actually, really quickly, I made these maps today because since we're talking about videos, I'll just do this for like 2 minutes. Okay, that's it. So
Did
my
I
video.
hear maps?
Yeah, I actually made maps. So the
Oh,
video
boy.
that I'm doing is about the Sahara, and if the Sahara was green. And so I made a thing where all of the let's move this. So I basically made a series of maps, both physical, political, and like religious or cultural. And so I'm gonna put it up on the live stream right now. But it's gonna be a slideshow because that's cool. But the cool thing was I was actually inspired by a map that I found on DeviantArt, and I'll link him down in the live stream. But
DeviantArt.
I'll just put it up here. But no, like this guy, his name is let me actually look it up. His name is actually beep boop boop.
Beep boop boop beep.
Yeah. No. I had it. He tweeted to me. He tweeted to me like literally a little bit ago. Stay with me. You guys talk about something while I'm doing this.
So, gents, what do you want to talk about?
Well, how about I'm just gonna like take a random question from the chat, if there even one even shows up.
God, I really am committed. Oh, his name is Sean McKnight.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking for it and I completely skipped it. Yeah, so his name's Sean McKnight. He makes these awesome maps and stuff and like flags and everything. And so he made this map about the Sahara being green, and it had a whole bunch of lakes. And for context, all of these lakes that you're seeing, because Africa is so huge, they're the equivalent size of all of the Great Lakes combined. Each individual lake is like the size of Michigan and Wisconsin and Ohio. And because if you took all of the Sahara from the western end to the eastern, that's the size of the United States.
Right.
You could just have from Oregon to Maine. That's all one area. And so the reason why I'm fascinated by the Sahara video is that if the Sahara was green, like it was 7,000 years ago, and it just never dried up into a desert, there's this whole cultural region that would exist. And it would be split between all of these different nations and potential tribes, and completely changes the way that we would even view Africa.
Right. It could be a potential power player because it would just have, it would have population. It would have potentially stability more so than it ever would have had.
Yeah. So not to get too much in the spoilers, but the thing that I always thought was really cool about it was because there isn't this barrier between Europe and Africa. Earlier on, there's a lot more communication between both worlds, essentially.
It doesn't become like Africa is this place to colonize. They're just seen as like, oh, it's just another part of the world.
Well, me and Tiger Star actually had, because I actually don't talk about this in the video, but me and Tiger Star theorized that instead of Northern Africa, them colonizing, they would instead just move to Southern Africa. But I couldn't really say that in the video because people would just like, you know, in the comment section, people.
Oh, I know exactly how the comment sections roll.
Yeah. So, guys, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So, yeah, me and Tiger Star theorized that because you have this cultural region, and they have such a connection to Europe, or at least a relationship, probably the equivalent of China and Arabia, they would move south because they couldn't easily colonize it. But anyway, that was the video that I did, and I really wanted to show these maps to somebody, and nobody. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think we should probably wrap this up. But let's do one more question, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, let's something from Twitter. Let's go, Cody.
Oh, jeez. Okay. We got a few questions. I'll take one question, and we'll save these for next week.
Meeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Catch a tiger star by the toe.
I did not even think of that.
I freestyled.
Pun freestyle.
Okay,
This needs
Hitler.
to be a thing.
I actually think this is kind of. Actually, no. Actually, this is kind of interesting. So the Looney Tunes asks, which regime would you rather live under? Hitler's Nazi Germany, Stalin's USSR, Mao's China, Castro's Cuba, Saddam's Iraq, or Genghis's Khanate? And I think this is pretty simple.
That is a really easy answer for me.
Germany.
Because
It is very easy. Yeah, that's why I kind of.
Even though Nazi Germany is the worst out of all of those, the fact that I have a Dutch last name, have blue eyes, and am white would mean that I could live in Nazi Germany and probably not be killed as long as I kept my mouth shut. Meanwhile, if I was in Mao's China, killed as a foreigner. If I lived in Fidel's Cuba, killed as a foreigner. If I lived in Stalin, I'd probably be killed for being smart. And then if I live, pretty much just Nazi Germany is just, even though it's the worst out of all of them, is the most survivable.
Jeez, okay. I would probably go with either Iraq or Cuba. Iraq was kind of, it was a brutal dictatorship, but it was kind of a normal country until the U.S. invaded it. And Cuba is like a Caribbean tropical paradise. Like, come on.
I think
it's resort town, man.
I think the entire. I think you both are completely missing the obvious thing. Genghis's Khanate is by far the best option.
No, I don't want to die of the bubonic plague.
No, Genghis's Khanate, but this is about what would you rather live under. And even though Genghis's Khanate did lead to the Black Plague, if you survive the initial invasion, the Khanate
really
was
think that
far
I would
better.
Survive the initial invasion?
Yeah, as long as you survive the initial invasion, if your people surrendered,
he will take all the people and make pyramids out of their skulls.
Yes, if you survive that, if your village survived that, it was actually a pretty nice place to live as long as you paid your taxes.
As long as you paid your taxes.
Yeah, because think about this. They didn't care about your religion because they had their own religion, so they're actually pretty tolerant for the time. They reinvigorated the Silk Road. And, eventually, it did lead to the bubonic plague. But I would say compared to Hitler's Nazi Germany, I would say
also come from living in the 13th century.
Also, think about how bored I would be. I can walk. I can do a lot of walking. I can be a farmer, but I'd probably have to live. But okay, let's see. What kind of music do we... Oh, Mongolian throat singing. How lovely. When's jazz invented? Oh, not for another 700 years. So there's going to be nothing even remotely listenable for music. The only game I would have is chess, which, as fun as chess is, would get really boring after a while. And I imagine the rules would be different. And also the majority of people probably wouldn't know how to play. There would be a bunch of languages that I can't even look up in a translation book to speak, because even if it's that person is somehow speaking English, well, it's medieval English, so I wouldn't be able to understand them. And not only do you have the bubonic plague, but you have every single other disease. I've never had smallpox.
Yeah.
So if I go
back fine, I'll change my question, my answer. I'll do.
No, you can pick whatever you want.
I'm just Cuba. That'd be my second.
Answer.
Yeah, I'm going with Cuba because Castro was friends with Justin Trudeau's dad, the prime minister. So Canadians were welcomed in Cuba, and they've got resorts and cigars.
You're not
and
helping
rum
my decision.
It's like a tropical paradise. Like what's it called? Cuba is like not even close to as bad as people made it out to be.
I mean, compared to
You know-
Saddam's Iraq, and
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to go there.
yeah, compared to Saddam's Iraq and
Yeah.
literally everyone else, yeah, Cuba is. Plus, it's Cuba. Like, it's gonna be.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I
yeah,
think
it's gonna
about
be a
it,
paradise anyway. But
Cuba is the best answer. I will switch my vote to Cuba.
yeah,
Assuming
Cuba.
that I'm just a
My vote to
person.
Cuba.
Yeah,
However,
Cuba. Yeah, let's do
however,
Cuba.
if I
Hey,
was
everyone's going to
sent
Cuba.
if I was sent to Nazi Germany with like Rambo style weaponry, then maybe I would still pick Nazi Germany just to like kick some Nazi ass. But
Yeah, keep in mind the Gooder Demerung will still happen.
yeah, but
Yeah.
if we're just talking about just living, then I guess I'll pick Cuba.
Yeah.
I'll switch to Cuba.
Anyway, I think we've gone almost 2 hours. I think that is
Yes.
quite enough time. Anyway,
It's a wrap.
thank you everybody for joining. If you are watching this live stream, we're going to cut this out for the podcast, so keep that in mind, Tristan. The podcast will probably be up. When do you say that you could probably edit this? Say,
Yeah, it depends how next week turns out, but probably if you like a day or two.
okay. So if you want to, just check back on the channel. I've linked it down in the description. Podcast is probably going to be up around Wednesday or Thursday. So just check back then. For everyone else joining our live stream, just check back next week at 7. That's the time that we're going to aim for. I think we're all in agreement. 7 next week sounds good.
Fine with me.
Yeah, right.
Okay, cool. So 7 Eastern Standard Time next week. I hope we all join us. And I guess we're all going to sign out. So Tyler?
I've been Tyler.
He's been Tyler. That's
Oh,
good.
really? Wow. You could have had me
My
for
Rusty
it.
Shackleford handle.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, so...
My name is Rusty Shackleford.
And with that, pocket sand. Husha.
Hasha!
What a fantastic way to end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah.
This is Cody of Alternate History Hub.
And I'm Emperor Tiger Star.
Tristan from Step Back History.
And I'm Tyler.
Get out of here.